These guys got to go to TI4, the International, the big Dota 2 tournament that happened very recently. So if you're not familiar, this is IGN's MOBA and competitive gaming podcast, and this week we're talking lots about TI4, but also some other sort of MOBA topics. But first, I really want to get into TI4 and talk about all the cool things you did there. I mean, you guys obviously got some cool stuff. You're all wearing Dota swag. Like, Brian, show everyone your shirt. It's the best.
So good. Pocket Axe is so good. He's so adorable.
Better than Pocket Knife. Pocket Axe.
Yes.
Pocket Axe.
Do you run faster with an axe in your pocket?
Yes.
It's a Counter-Strike joke.
Yes.
I got it. I feel you.
Okay, let's just roll right into it. Tell me, how was TI4?
It was blessed. I mean, we had so much fun watching these competitive matches, like the tournament. Like, being in an arena full of 10,000 people cheering on Dota teams is like it's totally crazy. It's a weird feeling to like watch that many people get that excited about Dota. And then seeing the massive lines outside the Dota 2 Secret Shop merch booth, like
5
people
hours.
waiting 5 hours to get these toys.
5 hours to spend
hundreds of
dollars. When I was talking to the cashier, he said he'd seen someone who spent $4,200, and that wasn't even the top purchase.
Gosh.
They had like limits on the amount of stuff you could buy like per items, but like that was like probably, I would say, 3/4 of what you could buy. It was probably like that.
So tell people like what they could buy there, because I mean, obviously you can get this stuff, but like just listening to this, I love stuffed animals more than most normal people.
Your desk,
Most
Leah's desk is
people.
covered in Hello Kitties and
like if my shirt is
everything.
any indication, like I love cute things like this. So, but even I don't think I could spend $4,200 on stuff like this.
Yeah,
so
I think a lot of it was
there?
like you could get cards with items on it, and that stacked up to like, okay, if you got one of everything, you got like $140. Okay, so that's a good start. You buy shirts, you buy hoodies. All of these things come with in-game items, so you're like, okay, the more I buy, the more items I get. They're also genuine items, so that it's like, oh, you were at TI4 when you got this. That's the label that is on it. It's genuine.
Genuine promo.
Genuine promo.
Yeah.
These figurines that we have on the table, like these really awesome, like hand-painted looking things, are like these beautiful little figurines. They were $30 a piece. These little plushies, $12 a piece. Hoodie, $25. Plushies, $40. Like, there's all sorts of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Like, just tons and tons and tons of merch.
And most things, the limit was 5. So like if you got like 5 hoodies or something, you just spent $200 some.
Yeah. And then that's like, that's one hoodie.
That's
you could
one
also
hoodie.
get
There's
like
different
the red
colors
hoodie, the
and-
gray hoodie, the Dota 2 shirt,
Yeah,
the
so a
Pathfinder
Juggernaut
shirt,
mask and a Pudge bottle hook opener and
pint glass.
So what? Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, also the best thing about, I think, the plushies is that they're blind boxes, so people were buying like a bunch of them and then
trading at the secret shop.
Trading at like
Yeah,
saying,
we
what
have-
did you get? Oh, I
only have 4
Ryan.
meepos. I need a 5th meepo. I need a meepo.
And then there were also the statues which had the gold variant, that's my
Yes.
tiny.
Yes.
Which
There was like a 1 in 10 chance that the character that you bought would be gold instead of colored. And the gold version of it came with a gold item, which was a super rare version of a certain treasure in Dota 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like a razor helm, or there's like a Skywrath staff, like all these different things. And when you got one of those, there was also a smaller chance that you would get a gold Doomling Courier that James got.
Yes.
it looks like this guy, but he's gold and he runs
And he
around and
runs
gives you
around.
items.
And then
We
he
have
has a
a
little
video
bag
of
and
it.
he's like flapping, and it's really.
He's also selling for literally $1,000.
Yeah. I'm not selling mine.
You're crazy.
You've decided.
No, yeah, I think it was cool enough, and it's one of like it's so rare that I'm like, it's not one of the things I will ever give up.
Right. It is a permanent collector's item.
Yeah. It's like, and people are like, oh, but that's like a month of rent. I'm like, nah,
It's
but
Steam bucks.
it's Steam
It's
bucks.
Steam
Yeah.
bucks.
I'm like, I don't. But
It's free Dota hats for life.
I told someone this morning, even if I'm losing, I can rub that in people's face. But like, check out my cool.
Yeah, I got a gold Doomling.
Yeah.
So, the one thing that I really loved about Arena is that, or being at the not Arena, but like in the arena, is that almost
At the
anyone that I saw at the
youtube.com/IGN Key
YouTube.com,
Arena.
please subscribe, is that I could talk to anyone about Dota, and they knew exactly what I was talking
Yeah,
about. They
there
had,
were-
that excitement was shared.
Everyone was there for the same reason.
Yep, like I would go out in line, and the lines were huge, and they would have TVs, and you would watch the draft, and like the person next to you would be like, "Why do you think they picked that?" And you could just have a conversation.
Yeah. Somebody would pick Ursa, and our whole row went like,
Go!
"Whoa!"
Yeah, it's
Like it was
it's
just,
amazing.
it's a
having that.
shared energy, and you would see that in the draft, and when anybody got a team kill. Like even if people were in the crowd and they were like, "EG is my team," but damn, that was a good kill. People would cheer. Like people would go nuts. People had their favorite teams, but also people were just super into the idea of competitive Dota. So everyone was just so happy to be cheering about anything. It was great.
That's one of the things that I wasn't at the event, but I've been to events like BlizzCon. I've said this in the past that BlizzCon is my favorite convention because it's the same type of thing. Like, no one makes fun of you for nerding out about, the types of things that you're nerding out about. Everyone just does it along with you, and it's cool, and it's like, it's okay, it's accepted to be, a huge fan of these things at these types of events, and that is why I love it. That's why I love going to events like this. So it's nice that you guys kind of got to see that feeling like in action. You could go out after the event was over and talk more about it and stuff like that.
People in the streets were like commenting. We'd be like, that last fight, just like if they hadn't done this, and some guy walked by going like, yeah, I mean, they were trying to do this, but then it fit. We're like, okay, cool, it's good to see you, man.
Yeah, and the production value was
it was out of control.
Incredible.
I mean, the techies reveal was like the biggest thing, even more than the end. Like the end when the grand finalists had won, and the confetti came down, and the lights came up. Like the techies reveal was really like the star of the show.
Yeah,
with big pyrotechnic explosions and big crazy light laser shows. And that was the moment.
Just catching everyone up, if you don't know, techies were a hero in Dota 1. They're these little goblins, and one's pushing the other in like a wheelbarrow thing, and they
and
just suicide explode on people, and they drop mines, and they're very cool.
The All-Star game was so dumb and so much fun.
It was just 10 Dota pros who had just like turned it off. They were just like, all right, we're not serious. This is not competitive Dota anymore. This is just 10 people who probably respect the hell out of each other playing the dumbest game of Dota that I have ever seen. It was amazing.
RO2K taking a nap in the booth was one of my favorite things, because he was just like passed out, and Casey's like, what are you doing? And he was just like, I'm going to sleep later.
Yeah, he's like pretending not to care. Dendy deliberately not getting any kills at all. Tons of people pausing and like making like, don't kill me, I got tangos, I'll share tangos. Like, I'll share the garbage item with you if you don't kill me.
Dendy was buying items and just throwing them on the...
He was littering outside of his fountain. It was so good. It was just it was really awesome to see the All-Star players having a lot of fun with each other and with Dota. And it's like, okay, this is a really serious competition, and it is like literally life-changing for all of them if they win. But they're also like, it's a video game. Like, we're going to have fun goofing around.
There were people for, those 10 minutes, instead
they weren't like
professionals, pro
they
players.
Were just dudes.
Yeah.
You should definitely check out. We did a video about like what it's like being there. We went to the workshop, and like,
we have videos with everything we're talking about. Actually, like we have a video of the gold Doomling. We have videos of the techie reveal. And what it's like to be there was a video James made.
Yeah.
And we have all the replays of every single match, including the All-Star match, which you guys were just talking about. So yeah, you can find all of our TI coverage on IGN Arena at youtube.com/IGN Arena. You can subscribe. We'll have more Dota videos coming up, and more TI videos, more stuff like that on the channel. So it sounds like you guys had a good time, though.
TI was a lot of fun. I can't wait to go next year.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go next year. There's also some back and forth about whether the finals were boring. Like,
I don't get that. Everyone's like,
we're still going to talk about that. We're actually still going to, we're not done talking about TI. We've talked about sort of your time there. We're also going to talk about, the actual tournament itself, because it was a big deal. So, but first I want to talk to Brian one more time, because I know this was your first live event. So what would you sort of rate it, and would you want to go back and compared to watching Dota, how you normally watch it just in the client, like what did you think about the live versus...
What would I rate it?
Yeah, what would you rate it?
I'm going to go with I'll go with a 9. I'll give this a 9.
Amazing.
This is amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
And this is not any team's faults or whatever. I just wasn't super invested in some of the teams that made it really far.
Yeah, I mean, the teams that we were all really cheering for, like Liquid came out of nowhere. It's like, wow, yeah, they're like the Cinderella. Like, they won in the whatever phase it was. I can't remember. Wild card, yeah. And they were like, wow, Liquid's unstoppable. Maybe they're going to... No, they're gone. Like, that happened with a lot of teams, like a lot of fan favorites. Cloud9 got knocked out. Navi got knocked out. EG got knocked out.
I'm so sad we only got to see 2 Navi games.
2 Navi games?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
All the previous champions gone. Like, just
which is
gone.
Really interesting. Yeah. It was a totally different kind of the international. New teams playing new kinds of Dota. It was fascinating.
But aside from all that, just the amazing thing is, like, maybe you're watching a replay of Dota, or you're playing yourself, or you're watching your friends or something like that, and like something cool happens, and normally you just be like yes, like, oh, that was really cool. You just kind of do like a little like, oh, that was great. But when 10,000 people are like cheering and yelling and sometimes standing up for
chanting and throwing stuff, it's like, all right,
it's just amazing. Or sometimes when a team would smoke up, which is this way to sort of like sneak past wards and go like gank people.
You become invisible.
Like the crowd would be quiet. When
that was really fascinating. And same when
smoked up is so good.
I mean, the players are all in soundproof booths, So
pods is what they were calling
the pods,
them.
Yeah.
It's always been called soundproof booths until TI4, and then they were the pods, and it was like.
I mean, it sounds better.
But it was fascinating because like I really wonder how soundproof they are because they had to this year. I think you told me they had to turn off the sound of Rashawn getting hit. Or Rashawn hitting people because it was too loud. Like the bass of that was alerting players, like, "Oh, they're at Rashawn. We need to go."
But couldn't they hear the casters?
That's what I thought too, but apparently not.
They can hear the casters.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, obviously, like if they're in the soundproof booth, pods, whatever, then they shouldn't be able to hear the casters. That would be what I would think.
That's the point. Is like you can't hear anything through that glass.
But could they hear Rashawn?
No, they turned off this. I mean, last year they could because the pods were different and the sound was so loud. But here it's like they made changes to make sure that players couldn't hear anything. They were not alerted by anything, by outside forces. They were just playing the game, which was great because players, the audience, whether or not they knew that, there were moments like that where the smoke happened and they went silent, or they went to the Rashawn pit and everyone's like, ooh, and everyone's like waiting for that Aegis of Champions to pop.
Tell about the Void.
That's what I was just gonna say too.
Oh, it's silly, but like every time Void, when he hits something with this mace, it makes this really satisfying thud sound.
Yeah.
And there were times like if there's something big that he's hitting over and over, like a tower or a Roshan, it's just that like thud, 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 and you just hear it throughout the whole arena.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, it's so good. It's almost like this like song is starting to play. Yeah. Just him hitting something.
I mean, Dota sound design is something I've always really appreciated. I mean, you and I and James and Leah could probably all identify, and many listeners could almost definitely identify many things in that game just by hearing it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And casters rely on that.
Yeah, oh, totally.
For sure.
But you hear a clarity pop, you hear the sound of a Mask of Madness turn on. All of this stuff, like, it's just...
That would be a fun game that we could play, too.
What is the sound? Yeah.
Real quick interjection here. In the new Armory page where you equip stuff on your characters, it looks better now. They changed it with the last patch. But it also makes like a sound of one of their skills whenever they like jump down on their pedestal or whatever.
Oh.
And like this is so nerdy, but like if you just like look away and like flip through, you'll be able to tell who it is. Just by hearing the sound.
What item does this character rely on? Oh, okay, it's that one.
Yeah, there were just moments in that stadium where like I got the hype reels. I think were one of my favorite things because I like the Navi hype reel where it was just people were losing their mind, and it was just a video that they're playing.
Yeah.
But so I came back. We didn't talk about Evo since I came back from Evo last week. There are moments of like at Evo where certain skills, like Rufus does this move where I think it's just part of his Ultra, where he goes, huh! And the entire crowd, I think I may have shown you this photo of the entire crowd, they all mimic the motion.
That's so good.
And it's one of those things where everyone, no matter who you're rooting for, just does this together.
Right, you're just into it for the spectacle of it.
Yeah. And that was incredible. Like, and there were moments like that where people were, regardless of it was the team you're cheering for, if they got an awesome kill, people would just lose their minds.
That's so awesome. I don't know if you guys got to see it, but there was one interview that was kind of like that Casey Atchison did.
Yeah.
And it was like she was interviewing some kid who brought his mom. And at the start of the day, the mom was like, oh, what is this? Like, I don't understand.
Nerd garbage?
But then, like, later she caught up with the mom at the end of it. And the mom was totally on board. She loved it. She was like, this is so cool. Like, I can't believe what's going on here. I can't,
we kept watching security have the same reaction. Like, there's guys who are, like, monitoring the rows and being like, oh, yeah, press is over here, sit down here, you can't come up here. They were all, like, congregating together going, like,
they would lean over the rails and they asked me like, which one's EG? And they're in the left pod. They just wanted to pay attention.
They were trying to figure out Dota. Like, it's a weirdly fascinating thing to be at. If you don't know anything about Dota, it's still like, man, people are going nuts over that thing that I don't understand. I want to learn more about that.
Also, Toby's excitement is infectious.
Yeah.
When he starts screaming about things, you're just like, oh yeah, this is great.
You're talking about Toby Wan, the caster.
The caster. One of the casters, yeah.
Yeah, there was also so around the edge of the arena, each of the teams had their own like box, and they had their logo and this big screen above it.
It
was basically like the private session, yeah. It's like
they got knocked out.
Oh man,
that was so. Their light, there was a light like behind the screen that you guys couldn't see. They would turn off that light.
So the spotlight that was like over the team members sitting in their section.
Just like if these lights turned off.
Yeah, it was dark.
Like that, gone.
You couldn't see them, and then the color in their logo was drained, so it was just black and white.
And then they started crying.
It was like brutal.
it was brutal, yeah, because they had such a spectacle when they introduced the teams. They're like Navi, and it was like this big smashing sound as the Navi logo popped up. The players were spotlighted, and they were like, yeah, and everyone went nuts. And then now it's like, all the colors gone. You don't get to see them anymore. Like they're out.